They coming all the way through to win. So, or Neil Hodgson back in 2000, Alton Park, back of the grid to win in British Superbikes.
How much has he paid you to say that?
Nothing.
Red lights on then, ready to go for race one of the R&G British Talent Cup. Lights out and we're racing. Good start off the front row for Sullivan, Mounty, Evan Belfort getting away pretty nicely too as we head down into Copse for the first time. Who's going to lead? It is Mounty then from Emmanuel Brinton through the first corner for the first time. We go as they head all through there, looking like everybody's made it relatively cleanly through. On the brakes, we're about to head through the left-hander of Maggots, then into the right-hander of Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight. And as they all dive their way through, it's Sullivan Mounty who is the data tag fast start winner, the leader at the first corner. Good getaway for him, and he still sits at the front of this race.
Yeah, great start. I just had kept my eye on Johnny Garnes there. He chose to go down the left-hand side nice and wide through Copse, went all the way around. I think he exceeded track limits there to try and grab a few places, but it will be interesting to see where he comes over the line. And there he is. He looks like he's halfway through the field already.
Yeah, Sector 1, he was already up into 17th place. He's making continual forward progress through Brooklands and into Luffield. This is going to be a hugely exciting prospect. I think it's a case of when and not if he's going to make his way to the front here for Johnny.
Yeah, well, as the further up he gets, the more difficult it gets for him because everyone's going a little bit faster. What I love about junior championships is that you see some riders might be a bit average the season before, they come into the new season, and over the winter suddenly they've got fast, they've got confidence, they've got that year's experience under the belt. So yeah, Johnny Garnes is going to have to be careful with exceeding track limits there, so I think that's a couple of times already. But yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, taking nothing away from these guys at the front, they're all fast riders and out here to win the British Talent Cup.
Harrison Desoy was trying his luck on the outside of Evan Belford coming through Aintree, that right-hander. Then you can see the two RS Racing bikes sitting there in second and third place. That's Rhys Stevenson ahead of pole sitter Emmanuel Brinton. Into Brooklands we go. Evan Belford there on the red machine in fourth position. There is Johnny Garnes continually making forward progress, but look at how much he's pushing that front end up 17 places after just a lap and a half.
Pushing the front end and back end as well. You see the rear wiggling around there, but really is on his limit. But he has to keep his powder dry, he has to keep out of trouble. Looks like he's wide there again. I hope he wasn't on the green again. He doesn't want to get any kind of time penalties just for running wide here and there.
You have to be so careful with that because of course the stewards will be keeping a close eye on track limits. There are lots of lap times cancelled here in qualifying yesterday. Riders having their fastest lap times cancelled due to exceeding track limits, and well, the same rules are going to apply under racing conditions. You get a few bites of the cherry, but if you keep doing it and are gaining time, then the stewards will impose penalties, presumably time penalties that will be awarded after the race. Onto the Wellington Straight we go then. Sullivan Mounty at the front of this one, followed by Emmanuel Brinton. Then it is Rhys Stevenson, who is looking really good. Actually, Rhys is, as you said, multiple podium finishes there, just getting duffed up by Harrison Desoy. Evan Belford up into third place, but not for long because Desoy tries to send it through into the left-hander. But Belford's going to have the tighter line into the right-hander, but Desoy just had so much momentum that he was able to hold that and then block him into the right-hander.
Yeah, nice riding there.
Oh, that's Mounty out the seat and wide, coming through Luffield, off onto the gravel, kept it facing upright, but he's lost a chunk of time, a chunk of places, and it's dropped him out of this lead group for now.
Yeah, getting the gravel.
$69 US Special Forces device turns men into beasts. It emulates 54,000 crunches in 20 minutes and builds an incredible six-pack up to 10 times faster than regular exercise. It was created by Captain James Snipes, a 31-year-old US Special Forces officer and a bioengineer. After being wounded in his last mission and spending 3 months in a hospital, he felt weak and realized he wouldn't have enough time to get back in shape for the critical next mission. That's when he remembered what he learned in...
And that sucks all your power away. These bikes don't have a lot of horsepower anyway, around 40 brake horsepower, so that just kills everything when you get out there. Never mind it being so wide on the dirty part of the track, certainly on the dirt there, on the gravel, but good save there, picked it up and used the momentum to get back on the black bit.
The problem is when you're trying to get onto the power, if you are leaned over, all you're going to do is just continually run out wide, aren't you? And then you're going to go straight to the scene of, well, the gravel for Mounty in this case. So it's now Harrison Desoy that leads the way on lap 4 then here, but not for long because of Emmanuel Brinton. The slipstream, we can't overstate just how important it is on these lightweight machines. We know how much momentum counts on these NSR 250s, and you have to carry so much corner speed, but the slipstream as well. If you're not in a group and you're not following a rider in front, you can sort of sit there in no man's land.
Yeah, you have to use all your skills, the momentum, side grip, corner speed on the exited corners. Fastest lap there, no surprise to Johnny Garnes, just 2/10 outside the lap record, so we could see a lap record here go in the open round, the British Talent Cup. He's pretty much in the bunch now. He's in with Johnny Garnes now.
11th place across the line.
Yeah, so that, I mean, top 11 they're all together, so anyone can win at this point.
Absolutely. Well, the number one on his bike, and he wants to be number one in this race. He's got 10 more places to go until he gets there. Evan Belford takes over at the front of this one from Rhys Stevenson. So the Lancashire lad is demoted down into second place. But for how long? Coming on to the back straight, the Wellington straight. This is where we'll see so many moves being made. Of course, there's only really one left-hander here at Silverstone when you're on that left-hand side of the tyre. And I was talking to some of the riders and I said, you know, does the left-hand side of the tyre get cold? Because, of course, you're not using it. And they said, well, it's not too bad on these bikes, but on the but it does have an effect.
Yeah, you have to be careful because there's a long way around before you get to Maggots, and that's an ultra fast left-hander, and you're pushing the front as you head in there. You have to be careful. Evan Belford, he's a rider that broke his leg early in the season last year, came back to win at Knockhill, so fantastic recovery last year, and no surprise to see him up there leading this year.
Yeah, I've known Evan for a good number of years, and well, he is looking really strong at the front of this one. There is Johnny Garnes continually making forward progress, now inside the top 10 for the first time in this race. Just behind him is the American, the Floridian Julian Correa for the Microlis Cresswell Racing team. You can see there he's just trying to get his elbows out here, but at the sharper end of the field, that was the number 29. Looks like he's making some moves there. Lucas Brown on the black machine. They're all bunched together now, this group, aren't they? There is Lucas Brown, and indeed he has got himself up 5 places from his starting position, is now inside this battle for the podium. Sullivan Mounty looks like he's regrouped following his earlier running wide escapade and is now back in contention after his earlier off-track excursion.
Yeah, Garnes there looking like top 6 or 7.
He's in the Duff Mounty up here, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's keeping things nice, and as he's taking some risk for sure. You have to in the early laps, and we saw the front end bouncing around, chattering, rear end moving, but now settled down and just using his skills. You can see the leader, so he just needs to just keep everything sensible, keep everything in line, cleanly through. There's a head through Copse again, back up to Maggots. 6 is his position at this point.
He's just making that sort of steady progress, lap after lap, corner after corner, as he just, incrementally taking those bits out, but it doesn't seem like he's taking too many risks at this stage. He's not elbowing people out of the way, is he?
No, he's letting things settle down. He's not a few block passes. He's pushing, but I'd say well within his limits. And got the number 48 Walker there right behind him, using Johnny's slipstream. And in one make championships, Johnny Garnes was a standout rider last year, and I think that's a good thing, because you need someone to. 36 riders can't all be brilliant, so you need someone to look a little bit special, and you've got to say he was the man last year.
So many riders, of course, have been racing together for a good number of years, all coming up through the Fab Racing or the British Mini Bikes Championships, and they all know each other's racecraft. You can see there Johnny Garnes just getting a little bit wide, and that allows other riders to go through. Looks like Sullivan Mounty was again wide coming across the timing line. I don't think he had any room to use the momentum that he gained, did he?
No gravel this time, thankfully. But you can see Johnny Garnes, and what a fantastic target.
I'll tell you what, Mounty's going to have to be very, very careful. Let's see if we can piece together what happened to Garnes. I think he just had a bit of a moment on the rear, didn't he? So, yeah, he ran wide on the exit of Luffield.
Millimetres to the gravel there.
So close, wasn't he? You can see there, this is just absolutely on the edge of adhesion. No room for error there for Johnny Garnes, and thankfully he kept it facing in the right direction and will try to continue his forward progress. Evan Belford just pulling out of the slipstream there on Lucas Brown into the left-hander of Brooklands.
Rhys Stevenson hits the front for the first time, so nice ride here. One of the taller riders in this championship now. Rhys Stevenson also in the Red Bull Rookies MotoGP Cup this year. He was accepted in there quite late on, so great to see him gaining experience, and that's all going to be good for the British Talent Cup as well. So 2 championships to look out for him.
Absolutely. Rhys Stevenson raced with his own family-run team last year, now part of the RS Racing Squad, of course, who run the British Moto Star Championship a good few years ago, and he's now at the sharp end of this British Talent Cup on one of their motorcycles. Harrison Desoy very close there as well. Emmanuel Brinton, I have to say, he's just sort of been keeping his powder dry. He's been there and thereabouts, but sitting there sort of second, third place for the time being, and just looking pretty comfortable there, just waiting for the right time to pounce, and it seems so important on these bikes.
Yeah, it's still anybody's, like I say, slipstream so important. So leading onto the back straight there, especially in the last lap's not the ideal position to be in unless you've got a second gap. It really isn't. So it's quite smart just to bide your time. not necessarily save your tyres, because these Dunlop tyres will be in pretty much lap record condition from the first lap to the last lap. But yeah, just biding your time. Say if you've got something up your sleeve, maybe braking into Brooklands at the end of the back straight, save it for the closing laps.
What do you think these riders will be learning from running here?
We're the guardians of the galaxy on May 5th.
We come in peace. Seriously, dude?
No! Star-Lord.
Let's have a little fun.
Gamora.
Riders, of course, every race they do, they're gaining more experience, but how much are they learning?
Really depends on the rider. If the rider's thinking about it, then they'll be watching other riders, maybe just see where they're maybe slower or getting caught, and then if they're following riders, where they can pick up maybe lines or whatever the rider in front's doing. Other riders just fully focused on letting the brakes off and catching the guy in front, and that works as well. So yeah, every rider's different without knowing them all individually. Yeah, I mean, some might be using their brains more than others, but it's a race to young kids, and race is what they will do.
26 places gained, make that now 27 for Johnny Garnes as the lead changes once again at the front of this race. Harrison Desoy now hitting the front.
Yeah.
From Emmanuel Brinton, in fact, actually, who's now managed to get himself past his teammate Reece Stevenson. Those two are going to have to be a little bit careful. It's so frantic in this one, but the last thing you want to do is take your teammate out.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. That's not ideal back in the 10th. Not even at half race distance yet, though, so yeah, I'm not sure there's any strategies coming into play. They're just kind of marking time. Fastest lap at the moment is still Sullivan Mounsey, 2/10 outside the lap record from last year, so there's plenty of time, and faster laps will come, I'm sure.
I reckon the race direction are going to be keeping another close eye on Mounsey. He was again a little bit wide going through the last series of corners. He's have to keep a close eye on how that all plans out for him as we come onto the back straight. Stevenson leads the way then from Harrison Desoy. Emmanuel Brinton, half race distance we're at now. Here comes Desoy trying to send it down the inside into the left-hander of Brooklands. Gets that move done really nicely through there. Just looking calm and composed on the brakes, and just having a look actually at Harrison Desoy's 2022 season. And well, he was very much in contention for a lot of the races. Took a victory at Alton Park earlier in the season. But after that, his season kind of tailed off a little bit, had a few DNFs, and never really was sort of in the same lofty heights as he had been.
That's right, yeah. Kind of opposite to Johnny Garnes, where he had a few falls early in the season, and then he got his act together in the important part. So yeah, but at the moment it's difficult to say who's going to win this one. Garnes holding station at the moment.
Down the back straight we go. Emmanuel Brinton leading from Harrison Desoy, then Evan Belford with Reece Stevenson in tow. Sullivan Mounsey, the quickest man out on track, but he has exceeded track limits just a few times. There is Garnes looking to try and pick the pockets of Reece Stevenson, the Lincolnshire lad, into the left-hander, which he does so. Inside the top four now for the reigning champion. How long until he tries to stick a wheel on his good mate Evan Belford? Through the right-hander of Luffield we go, and this has been a meteoric but not an unsurprising rise through the field for Johnny Garnes, the reigning champion. He was so composed last year, maturity almost beyond his years in terms of his riding, and demonstrating that with this ride through the field.
Reece Stevenson having a look down the inside the cops, he returns the favour, so nice cheeky little pass there, and yeah, it looks like Sullivan Mounsey on the tail. So yeah, Johnny Garnes not getting it all his own way at the front here, just past half race distance here, so still a long way to go, but it really is anybody's race, and Johnny Garnes, sure, all the attention is on him, and what a fantastic thing, that's what a target for the other riders, and I mean, he is the standout rider in this championship, so any of the riders that are riding with him, or if they can finish in front of them, it's just yeah, it's amazing for them.
Ollie Walker, the fastest man last time around on the number 48, just on the left-hand side of your picture. See what Ollie Walker's going to be able to do. Harrison Desoy slings one, a late one, up the inside there of Emmanuel Brinton. Runs it a little bit hot into the right-hander of Luffield, but manages to gather it all up and not lose too much momentum. But now he goes from being the hunter to being the hunted.
Yeah, and that fastest lap of coming from Ollie Walker there, just a few hundreds outside the lap record.
Really impressive stuff there for Ollie Walker. Of course, these riders improving, and some of them, 24 of them in fact, going into their second season in the Honda British Talent Cup. That was Mounsey again, out wide.
Again, might just have been one time too many.
Yeah, Yeah, he's have to be careful on that. There were a few incidents last year where he just ran a little bit too hot. He had a meteoric accident at the finale at Brands Hatch in 2022. Chain came off and he ended up being collected by another rider, brought out the red flag. Very, very nasty crash. And I spoke to him about it yesterday and said, did you manage to get away from it all right? He said, yep, no, absolutely fine. After that, just decided to get my head down, get into my training over the winter and get back on the bike and try and compete at the sharp end. But the thing is, you've got to stop ironing out these inconsistencies, haven't you?
Yeah, it's they got a 9-round championship, including 1 round at the British MotoGP round at Silverstone here, obviously on the long circuit. So that's in August. So these guys got to be consistent. But there's a lot of races, 2 races every weekend.
So, across the timing line we go then. It is Emmanuel Brinton who leads the way, but for how long? Look at Harrison Desoy coming under pressure here from the reigning champ, Johnny Garnes. Started at the back of the field, 15 laps in. He's now in contention for the podium, and surely it'll only be a matter of time before he's fighting for that race victory. Harrison Desoy then going for the tighter line into the right-hander of Aintree. Johnny Garnes just sitting in his wheel tracks for the time being. Reece Stevenson and Sullivan Mounty collecting him there as well. Both riders going down and off into the barrier. That's a huge shame there. Reece Stevenson, a big crash for the Lincolnshire lad. He just got a bit too greedy on the power. The back end slid, then gripped up, high-sided him off. And unfortunately, Sullivan Mounty, an innocent victim in that.
Yeah, so unfortunate. It was a tiny bobble from Reece Stevenson heading through the right-hander there onto the back straight through Beckett. So it cost nothing, and Sullivan Mounty had nowhere to go. Looks like he's okay. Reece Stevenson had a nasty clatter there. It was a nasty fall, and let's just hope that he's fit as well.
Red flag's out. Yeah, red flag has come out. I thought that